Hi everybody, okay, welcome back. We're looking today at Jeremy Duff, Elements of New Testament Greek, and in particular we're looking at section 5.8, some special uses of eimi, the verb I am. Actually, these are special uses of the verb, the third person singular and plural verb forms of eimi, so estin and asin. There are two uses here. We're going to look at them one at a time. Just before we do that though, got a favour to ask. This video and the previous two have been made without the microphone, and so I'd really appreciate your comments on the audio quality. If you can hear me clearly enough, or if you can't hear me as clearly on whatever device you're using, I'd really be grateful if you could let me know one way or the other. Simple reason is I've been having some trouble with the microphone and it's just proving unreliable. I'd rather do without it because it was going to cost time and money to fix the problem. But if we need to fix it in order to make the videos work optimally for you guys, then I'll try and do so. But let me know whether that's necessary. And if it turns out that nobody can hear me properly, then either I'll have to speak louder or I'll have to fix the microphone. Anyway, so comments would be appreciated. All right, let's jump straight in and take a look at this. Special uses of eimi. First, what Duff calls the preparatory use of eimi. Okay, well, let's look at these two sentences, which are the ones that he gives us. What have we got? Hotuflos, estin en te synagoge. I'm not going to labour the translation of this one, just to make a couple of points. Estin, he is, third person singular, he, she, or it is, third person singular of eimi. Hotuflos, that's the substantive use of the adjective. So literally the blind one or the blind person, probably here the blind man. So the blind man is en te synagoge, in the synagogue. The blind man is in the synagogue. All fairly straightforward. Now we look at another sentence which has almost all the same words in it. Estin tuflos en te synagoge. And what I want you to do at this point is go set your sirens buzzing or whatever it is, and the simple reason for this is you've got an estin first up in the sentence. If you get an estin or indeed an asin, which I'll look at in just a moment, asin, just put it there to remind me, asin, first up in the sentence, you do not translate it he is or she is or it is. You translate it there is in the singular or there are in the plural. It's as simple as that. Just learn the rule. There are some technicalities to this. Let me just write some of this down. So estin is there is. Come to the technicalities in a sec. Let's just complete the sentence. There is tuflos, a blind one or a blind man probably in the synagogue. I'm not bother writing all that out because it's obvious to you, I'm sure. There is a blind man in the synagogue. Or asin. Well, if you were going to write asin, the purpose of writing asin would be, of course, if there were more than one blind man in the synagogue. There was more than one blind man in the synagogue. So there is or there are blind men in the synagogue. Notice that the verb asin, the plural, agrees with the noun in number, tufloi, nominative plural, and it's nominative because it's the complement of asin. Estin agrees with tuflos, nominative singular. Now just the technicality I mentioned, this is more a linguistic, philosophical point really. Look at the English version of this sentence. There is a blind man. Well, here's the verb. There's the complement. This is a subject that doesn't really correspond to anything. It's a little bit like the word it in the phrase, it is raining. You have subject, it, verb is, and then whatever finishes off the sentence, the complement. Well, this doesn't really correspond to anything, so I believe this is what is called by some grammarians a dummy subject, which is necessary not because it corresponds to anything in the real world, but simply because it makes the grammar and structure of the sentence work, because in English everybody knows you need a subject and then you can have the verb. Anyway, I think that might be interesting to some people. Go and do some more reading on that if you're interested. But the key thing I do want you to take away from the top half of this is very simple. When you see asin or estin first up in a sentence, do not translate it he is, she is, it is, or he, she, or it, they are. You translate it instead there is, if it's singular, or there are. You want to write that big fat letters across that section. That's the first section, the preparatory use of eimi. Okay, here's the second subsection. You remember when we were looking just a couple of videos ago at the use of estin with adjectives, the predicative use of adjectives. We noticed that you could say things like hohuios estin hagios, where hagios agrees in number, case and gender with hohuios, so it's the sun is holy, or hohuios estin agathos, the sun is good. So you can go noun, estin, adjective. Well, no surprise, you can also go noun, estin, noun, as in this sentence here, hohuios estin hokurios. So we translate that, the sun is the Lord. Notice the agreement, third person singular, the nominative singular, masculine, nominative singular, masculine, everything agrees with everything. So the sun is the Lord. Now, just taking a look at this sentence highlights one further slight tricky point, and this is the thing which Duff explains really at the top of page 63, which is it's not immediately obvious which of these is the subject and which is the complement. Does this mean the sun is the Lord or the Lord is the sun? And at first glance you might think, well, does it really matter? Because as Duff says, estin is a little bit like an equals sign, although it isn't quite like an equals sign. And if you just think about it, I'm not going to try and delve into the philosophy of it now, but you can kind of tell there's something of a difference between saying the Lord is the sun and saying the sun is the Lord. And because of that logical difference, it is necessary in language, in Greek and in all languages, to be able to distinguish the subject from the complement in sentences like this. So the question is, how do you do it? When you've got two nouns, they're both in the nominative and they're coordinated, they're related by estin, how do you know which is the subject and which is the complement? Well, look, here's my way of doing it. First, think about the article. If only one of them has the article, the one with the article is the subject. End of story. But if both have the article, or neither have the article, then the article isn't going to help you. So then how do you tell? In that case, word order. The one that comes first is the subject. Say that again. Think first about the article. If only one of them has the article, that one is the subject. If that doesn't help, because both or neither have the article, then the first one is the subject and the second is the complement. Now then you can look at these two and you can see very easily in both cases which is the subject and which is the complement. In this case, hohuios estin hokurios, well, they both have the article, so thinking about the article isn't going to help you to decide which is the subject and which is the complement, and therefore this one which comes first is the subject and this one the complement. But now we look at the second one. Which of these is the subject and which is a complement? Let me just pause for a second and you see if you can figure it out. Remember what we should do. We think first about the article. If only one of them has the article, that one's a subject, end of story. So kurios estin ho logos. Only one of them has the article, so ho logos, did I say logos? Hohuios, it's late and I'm tired. Kurios estin hohuios. So hohuios is the subject and that's the complement. So they both have the same basic meaning. They're saying that the sun is the Lord, although bearing in mind what we talked about in the previous video about the influence of word order on the nuances of Greek phrases and sentences, it's possible that this one with the complement first is designed to emphasize something about kurios, whereas this one is not designed to do so. Who knows? Again, plenty of that complexity and subtlety around the corner once we've got the basics of the grammar down, which you are well on the way to doing. So remember, keep going, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 5 or 6 days a week, and we will have you reading the New Testament in Greek in no time at all. Okay, God bless. Take care. Bye for now.